Hello and welcome to the Learning Love Podcast, brought to you by the Learning Love Foundation, helping people transform how they love, live, and lead. I'm your host, Dr. Mark A. Hicks, and I want to thank you for joining us today as we spend some time learning love. Love is the answer. Now all we have to do is explore all the questions. And one of the great questions of life is, how do we sustain long-term relationships, particularly marriage that we want to last a lifetime, family relationships that we want to last a lifetime, but also friendships that we really care about and we want to last a lifetime. Some relationships, they come and go. That's just normal. We may work at a place for a while, have great relationship with our coworkers, but then we may move on to another career, another job of some kind, or our coworkers may move on to another job or another type of career. That happens. That's okay. Those are joyful things in life as well, even if they're not lifetime relationships. But there are some that we truly want to last. We want them to be healthy relationships that last forever. And there's a lot of things that go into that, obviously, but I'm going to give you today the number one thing. The number one thing you can learn for a lifetime of happy, healthy relationships in your life. And this comes from the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. And he says this, that the one thing that will determine your happiness, your health in a lifetime relationship, and he's referring primarily here to a marriage, but it can be other things as well, is to have good conversations. To be able to have conversations that you really, truly enjoy. And you can do it easily, and you can do that on a regular basis. Because, he says, everything else is going to fade. Everything else is going to change. Everything else is going to go. All right? You may be attracted to that person because they are gorgeous. A lot of things happen. They may be gorgeous 85-year-old. That can happen, but it's different than, a 25. It just, things age. Our bodies age, and we are not going to look the same. We may have certain goals in life. I did a show a while back about the young adult checklist, that we sometimes get into relationships in our young adult years because this person can help us get what we want. We find this partner that has similar ideas, that we want to get our education and find our job, our career. We want to get it promoted in that career beyond our entry level. We want to buy a house, have kids. We want to do all this stuff. And then we get to a certain place in life and we've done all of that. We're successful. We have the family, have the kids, we have the house, we have the job, and we think, who is this person that I'm living with? Why am I with this person? Because they helped us achieve all the stuff that we were told that we needed to achieve. And once we've done it, we wonder why we're with that person, because they helped us, almost like a corporate partnership, achieve the stuff that we wanted in life in our young adult years, but we don't really know that person. We've been so hard working on our jobs, our house, taking care of the kids, that we don't really have conversation with our spouse. We're just working together on all these goals. And sooner or later, that catches up with us. Sooner or later, we start to wonder, how am I accomplishing all these goals and don't even know who this person is? I don't even know how to talk to this person. Everything in life is going to change. Now, we fight against that sometimes, but it's going to change. We are going to go through struggles in life. We may be rich, we may be poor, we may be healthy, we may be unhealthy. That's why in the marriage ceremony, it asks you, will you stay through all of that in sickness and in health, richer or poorer? We ask all of that at the wedding ceremony because we understand that's probably going to happen. There's going to be ups and downs to life. There's going to be good times and bad times in life. And if we're going to sustain a relationship through the very end, through all of life, it's going to come down to, can we sit down in a quiet room with this person after 10 years, 20 years, 50 years or more, and still genuinely enjoy a conversation? If we can do that, we can sustain a relationship for a lifetime. Things may change, looks may fade, accomplishments may come and go, jobs may change, children will grow up, fly the nest and form their own life, and it'll be a grandchild era for us, perhaps. Some people don't have that. Some people don't have children. They don't have grandchildren. There's a lot of things that can come and go in life. There's a lot of different possibilities. A lot of doors may open and close. A lot of forks in the road will be there, that we make choices that affect our lives. But at the end of the day, if we are going to have a lifelong relationship, it's going to come down to the fact that this is a person that I can have a genuine conversation with and enjoy that conversation throughout our lifetime. When we can do that, when we have that level of connection that we can just enjoy talking to each other, we can have a cup of coffee or tea or whatever beverage we might like with that friend, with that family member, with that spouse. We can just sit down and talk. That is a relationship that we can sustain, even if other things don't work out like we hoped, even if we don't accomplish everything we had hoped, even if our family didn't work out exactly as we planned for it to. Some people, they plan to have children, they can't have children. Some people really hoped they would be working in this job, and that job didn't work out. A lot of things can happen, but at the end of the day, we can stay connected if we know how to talk to one another. We know how to have conversation. You do this, it is the number one predictor of how you will age in that relationship, how you will move forward through all the ups and downs of life and stay connected, because you know how to have a conversation that you can actually enjoy, that you really enjoy having communication, time together, conversation with this person, maybe for no reason at all. You're not trying to accomplish anything. You're just talking. And if you can do that, that's a connection that lasts. So let's talk about some ways to make that happen, because you might be in that place where you're just in the rat race of life, that you are working hard, you're taking care of the kids, you're keeping the home life going, you're at work all kinds of hours, you're doing a bunch of stuff, and you're letting this part fade. You're just assuming that spouse is going to be there or that friend is going to be there. And maybe you get a chance to talk every now and then, but you don't really pay attention to it. You just want to make sure that, you touch base once in a while. That's not what we're talking about. We are talking about real, genuine conversation. And so let's talk about how to do that. One thing that you can do is to actually listen. This is a lost art of a lot of conversations. We get lost in all of our own thoughts. We may be having a conversation while we're looking at our phone, or we may be talking to someone, but we're actually thinking about something else. Actually listening and actively listening is crucial to actually having a conversation. This is not just sharing words back and forth. We're talking about real connection through communication, conversation. And one of the ways you can do that is let the person know that you understood what they're saying. Now, especially if you're in some sort of disagreement, this is critically important. But even if you're not, people want to be seen. They want to know they've been heard. They want to know that they are understood in some way. And so when you're listening to someone, let them know it. Let them understand that you've heard them and you get where they're coming from. One of the ways you can do that is sort of repeat things back to them. Not word for word, not verbatim, not just parroting what they said, understanding what they said, and then telling them how you understand. That when they're frustrated, letting them know that you understand their frustration. They may be going off on something that happened at work, and you can just say things like, yeah, if that happened to me, I would be frustrated too. I know what you're feeling there. That I would be frustrated too. And you let them understand you're hearing what they're saying and how they're feeling. When you do that, it lets people know they've been heard, that they're not just rattling off words that are going out into the atmosphere while you're on your phone, but you're actually listening to what they say. Another thing that you can do to help relationships, and this is another one that helps a lot if you're in a disagreement, but it's a good practice even if you're just having a fun conversation, is to use I statements. Let people know how you are really feeling. Don't just talk about things in the abstract or what somebody else does. Talk about yourself. Be authentic, be real, and share how you're feeling. Positive, negative, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Make it real. And share how you're actually feeling. Let people know that. They want to know that you understand how they're feeling, and they need to understand how you're feeling too. When we are sharing those things and using I statements, I feel, I think, I see this way. Instead of projecting onto other people or saying, well, I just think that everybody believes. No, okay. I think. This is what I believe. Not what everybody believes, not what I think everybody should believe. This is what I think. This is how I feel right now. Using those kind of I statements helps that person connect with you, knowing where you actually are in life on these various topics. So don't be afraid to share your actual feelings with those statements of I think, I feel, I see it this way. This is where I am. Another thing you can do if you want to sustain a relationship is actually schedule a conversation. We do this with friends sometimes. We may call a friend and say, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time. Let's get a cup of coffee sometime and let's just chat. You might need to do that with your family. You might need to do that with your kids. You might need to do that with your spouse. You might need to say, hey, let's just talk. Let's just get some time where we're doing nothing else and just hang out and catch up on things. Let's just chat. That kind of conversation with a spouse, with a family member, just like you would have with a friend, is absolutely important. We'll do that with a friend sometimes. We'll schedule a cup of coffee. We'll schedule a time to go have a drink with them, but we won't do that with our spouse because, well, we got the kids in the house and the job and all the stuff. Make a time. Make a time that you can actually talk. I remember when my wife and I had the kids at home and they were teenagers and we were both working full time and things were just crazy. We had a coffee shop that we would go to, maybe just for an hour. And it maybe every once a week, maybe every 2 weeks. But every now and then, one of us would say, let's go get a cup of coffee. It was usually late at night. We very often closed the place down. They would run us out as they were sweeping the place up. Always had to get decaf. But we made sure we found a place that we could just stop and just chat. And that wasn't a place where we tried to work out problems or deal with anything. We just sat and just talked, just chat about nothing, about what's going on, about what we're feeling, what we're frustrated with, or whatever. It didn't matter. Just, like I say, not trying to solve anything, just making sure we're still together and on the same page. And we still look back at that time as some of our most important times, because in a time when life was so hectic with the kids and the jobs and all the stuff, that little coffee shop, those hours where we closed it down late at night were so important to us. Make a time. Doesn't matter when it is. Make a time, just like you would call up a friend to say, hey, we haven't seen each other. Let's get together and chat. Do the same with your wife or your husband or your family member or your child or whoever it is. Hey, we haven't talked in a long time. Let's make a time. Another thing that can really help your conversations is understand your own emotional triggers. Sometimes we will use these times of conversation just to vent. And there's nothing really wrong with that as long as we all understand in the conversation that this is what we're doing, that I just need to get some things off my chest right now, but understand that's what you're doing. Okay, don't just reserve your talking time, your communication time to vent all the things that you're frustrated with in life all the time. You can do that sometimes. That's fine. Nothing wrong with it. But don't make that exclusively your time of conversation. When you do that, you both begin to dread it. It just becomes this gripe session that nobody's really enjoying. Again, you can do that sometimes, and that can be healthy, but make sure sometimes you're talking about pleasant things on purpose. Sometimes you're just talking about nothing. Just talk about the weather. It doesn't even matter. As long as you're communicating, you're connecting, you're there together, and you just enjoy each other's company. It is so crucial not to make every conversation that you have where you're alone and just together some sort of gripe session. Sometimes that's okay, but make sure you give other time to just chatting, just catching up, just seeing where we are, just what's going on in life, and just chatting about stuff. Having that communication, having that conversation is what's going to sustain you in the long term. Another crucial aspect of this is understanding communication styles. If you want to talk with someone, understand what their communication style is. We all have different ways about us. And understand what yours is. And let people know. Don't keep that a secret. There are some people that are just more quiet. And they're going to listen. They're going to take everything in. I knew someone once, they almost never spoke. And I talk for a living. And so I was just talking. And this person just sat there quietly. And they would nod, they would listen, they would indicate that they were paying attention. And then they came out with one sentence that was absolute genius. It was amazing. They just had this way about them. I love talking to them because they were so quiet. They didn't feel a need to talk a whole lot. They did share sometimes, but they were just quiet-natured. But they were so reflective, so insightful, and they would just come out with this statement that was brilliant and helped me see things completely differently sometimes, especially things that I was struggling to work out. It was great. Other people are talkers. They just need to talk. They just get stuff out. Let them talk. Let them have some time to rattle on. That's okay. Find out what your communication styles are. They don't have to be the same. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be the same. Just work with each other. Understand people have different communication styles. Learn to work within those styles. And one of the things that can really help you, one of the absolute most crucial things that is necessary if you're going to have conversations long-term is curiosity. Curiosity is one of the great things of life. You can solve so many problems by just staying curious, just wondering, just being curious about where your friend is, or your partner, your child, your family member. Where are they in life? What's going on? How do they feel about this? Asking questions, not just to find a question to ask, but genuinely being curious about what's going on in their life. Curiosity will carry you a long way. When you really genuinely care and want to know what's going on in this person's life. Having compassion, having empathy, having caring and kindness for this person leads to a curiosity that you genuinely care about who they are, what they say, what's going on in their life, how they feel. And when you express that, you're letting them know you really care. So stay curious. When you practice these things, when you put these into practice and learn to communicate and make that a priority, you're sustaining a relationship really for a lifetime. Some relationships can come and go. Things will change throughout life, even in long-term relationships. In a marriage, long-term, lifelong partnership, books will fade, money will come and go, jobs will come and go, kids will grow up and leave the house. Things will change. But when you can sit and have a conversation, you have a relationship for a lifetime. So work at it. And that's my thoughts this week as we are looking to build a life of love. I hope you'll go to my website, markahicks.com. You'll find a lot of things there, including easy links to buy my book, Learning Love, Building a Life That Matters, and Healthy Relationships That Last. I want to thank everyone involved in the Learning Love Foundation that brings you this message each week. You can find out more at learninglovefoundation.com. I want to thank my producer, Abby Graves of Abby Graves Production, for her great work. And I want to thank all of you for listening. Until next week, love well, everyone.